You're listening to an Awkward Human podcast on the 5x5 network. If you want to find out more about this show and all the other cool stuff that we do, visit awkwardhuman.com. Hello and welcome to the Awkward Human Survival Guide. This week we're talking about some stuff. They're all questions, I think, for the most part, and also that blanket you can win. I don't remember. We forgot to record the intro. Hello and welcome to the episode. I'm Adam Dotchis.
I'm Erica Elson. We're joined today on this beautiful Saturday by Sam DeSurra and Richard Cardenas.
Hi, guys.
Who are you texting, Richard?
I'm texting my beautiful friend across from me, Sam DeSurra.
Me? Wow. Thanks.
Why is that?
Because I wanted to.
Oh, I thought we were...
He sent me a day and time.
I'm sending her a date and time for a future get-together.
I was trying to lead into that you have comedy shows now.
That's not what it was.
That was not.
I thought you were asking for details about that.
Yeah.
Whoops, screwed that up. All right, but yeah, you're performing and everything these days.
Yes, I am at the Groundlings. I am in their Sunday company. So come on by.
Which is like the best one, right?
It is like their JV team.
Oh.
If we're looking at sports in high school.
What's their V team?
Their varsity team is their main company. And that's where all the really
good. What day is it?
Oh, they're Fridays and Saturdays. The main company. The Sunday company, we're just on Sundays, 7:30. The Groundlings.
Okay.
I've known a lot of people that have studied at Groundlings and tried to do things there, and I know most, I would say, well, not most, every other one of them has not gotten into one of these shows, or I don't really know how it works, but what you're doing.
Oh.
So it must mean something.
It's all luck, honestly. It's just all luck. So, and good timing. Good timing and
How
luck.
many more Sundays
You just need a little bit of talent.
Yeah,
you don't
you
need much.
had nothing to do with talent.
You sound like me.
How many more Sundays will you be doing it for?
That sounds sadder coming from someone else.
No. I do it for 6 months, and then if they like me, you got time. Well, our closing date's like I think October 28th or something like that. That's when my last show is, and then if they like me or if they think that I can do more, they'll keep me on for another 6 months. But the longest you can be on Sunday company is 18 months.
And so if you don't make it to the next level by then, they're like, you gotta go.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like maybe some people get like jobs or something.
That's
or
true.
They go to a different.
That's true. Some people.
What if someone
had
was
to
like,
defer.
I'm gonna go to be on Saturday Night Live now?
Oh, straight from the JV team.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's I think yeah. Will Ferrell. Oh my God. It'd be awful of me if I didn't know this, but I think he didn't make it to the main company. I think he went from Sunday to. Don't quote me.
Now
I'm
he's
sorry.
Will Ferrell.
No.
And now he's Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Will Ferrell, who definitely listens to this podcast.
Will Ferrell's
I wouldn't
out
worry
there.
about it. Well, the only way he's going to see this is if you become very famous or on a late night show and we hear about it in time to send them a clip.
Oh my God.
Ooh, we should absolutely do that.
God.
Oh, I have a vault.
Let's set a reminder.
A reminder
Embarrassing clips of everybody
for when Sam is on late night.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
but then the technology will be advanced enough that the reminder will just sync.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then they can ask you like, so you think you're Will Ferrell, huh?
Oh no.
You both fucked up the Sunday group. What is it called? What's the word?
Sunday company.
Company. Yes, that's I knew what I was saying was not fancy enough.
No.
And you both fucked it up, and now you just think you're him. Where does this arrogance come from, Sam?
I know. It comes from this Awkward Human podcast.
Oh.
Speaking
You
of
guys
awkward,
gave me
what is your awkward situation?
Yeah, we're trying to rush today because she's got to go rehearse.
Because she's so popular.
She's
We
very
just like Will
important.
Ferrell.
But it's not really Sam's fault because we spent way too long recording the blanket review that you saw last week. But
Good luck winning it.
yeah, if you're hearing this right now, this is your last chance to send in a story.
Chance.
Like you have like an hour at this point, so if you really want that blanket,
Well,
and
give
you
him the day.
well, no, I'm saying, but we're going to be
when's the
recording
deadline?
when this is going up.
No, but when's the deadline to submit?
The deadline to submit is whatever day this is online.
Okay.
I gotta take a second and go find it.
It's fine. You let them know at the end of the show.
It is okay. So the episode that will have the decision is on the 15th of July, but this episode is airing on the 8th of July. So we'll be making the decision on the 8th, and you'll find out on the 15th.
Submit by the 8th.
Yeah, by 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because you're talking to me.
So your awkward story.
Yeah. So I thought I'd tell like a light one that's pretty quick since I feel like we've had some intense ones lately. I had an interesting Lyft ride the other day, and Richard knows this already, so help me out with not taking too long if I'm going on too long. I went into, and I don't want to insult this guy in any way, but he kind of looked like a hitman, and we've talked about Thorin, who you may remember if you are a fan of Lifehacker or from, I think he was on the show once.
Yes. Once.
Okay. So Thorin, one of the things that we've talked about on one of the shows with him is that someone sent him a Twitter message. He's like, you kind of look like a Ukrainian hitman, but Thorin's not like menacing at all for one thing, and he's not unattractive either. So when I say that, I was like, the guy was bald and had a goatee and kind of like intense looking a little bit, but he was surprisingly friendly. And I also walked into this Lyft thinking like, I hope I get someone who doesn't speak English or something. I don't want to have a conversation with anybody. But I was just having kind of a stressful day, and I wanted to like fall asleep in the car. But he was just so nice that it kind of like brightened up my day a little bit, and I was like, wow, I did not expect that from this person.
Why did you feel he was so nice? What was he doing?
Because he was we were talking, I guess, about like how he got screwed over in some financial situations, and he was talking about how he gets stuff from China and resells it, and he got like, he's driving now because he got screwed out of like 10 grand, and I'm like, oh.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Oh no, but he was but I talked about how I got hacked, and we
no, you wanted to make it short and sweet, so
yeah, no,
help you get there.
I understand, but I mean, like, that was what made me feel better, because we related in that way, that we both had that trouble, and he also had a very clever way of dealing with his that I really like, but I'm not going to say it for time. I don't know why I'm scolding you for doing what I asked.
Yeah.
Habit, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in an abusive relationship. Get me out of here.
Yes.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Oh. You know, like, I took that literally, and I was like, oh, right, you both have been on that hashtag for a while.
No, Lindsay started it.
Well, yeah. Well, it seems like a lot.
She started the hashtag.
For the listeners, because it's been the last 3 weeks for them.
But anyway, go on.
But yeah, so the he had given me his phone number because I had said, "Are you?" He had asked me like if I ever need any electronics. I had said something about cameras, and he was like, "Oh, I could get you a cheap camera." I'm like, "Okay." So he gave me his phone number. I don't know what that would, if it will work out or not. But then he starts asking me questions. So like, do you live where we're going, or did I pick you up where you live? And I'm like,
where were you going?
We were going to see an apartment.
And I said, oh no, I'm going to see an apartment. And I was like, I should have, I don't know how to answer that question, I guess, most of the time, because you don't necessarily want to tell a stranger where you live, but then he also picked me up where I live. So if he really wanted to stalk me, he could just pick a place and figure it out. And so, and then he's like, oh, so is your roommate, are you together? Are you straight? And I'm like, oh, that's where weird. I saw that going. And he's, and I was like, no, we're together. We're boyfriends. He's like, oh, because I think you look very nice. You have a very, very attractive face.
He said that while Richard was in the car with
No,
you?
I wasn't.
No, Richard was outside of the car at the time.
I was
when this was ending.
We were meeting at the apartment.
Oh.
That's why he took a lift.
Okay.
But I realized, I mean, I said thank you, and I didn't feel uncomfortable with it at all. Like, normally, I think like 10 years ago, or maybe probably more than that at this point. Let's say 15. I would have felt more uncomfortable with a compliment and wouldn't know what to do about it. And I don't know, it just didn't bother me. It probably helps that I wasn't going to like go out with him, but I'm with Richard, so that I guess it's easier when you have somebody to be like, that they know that you're not ignoring
it doesn't feel like
the compliment.
A rejection so much as like, oh, I can't.
Yeah, because it's just what it is. But I also really appreciate it. I gave him a larger tip because not because he paid me a compliment, but because I felt a lot better. because I had that Lyft ride, and so I appreciated that. I don't. It's not like it was a huge tip. It was just more than I usually do.
But it was just the tip.
Yeah, just the
No,
tip.
there was the fare too.
No.
Well, for him.
See what you did.
But yeah, I don't know. It was weird because I didn't find him particularly attractive. But then when he turned to me after giving me the compliment, in anime when they have like those like overly made up cute faces to the point where it like kind of looks excessive, he looked at me. I was like, oh.
Richard.
I haven't.
Oh.
I feel threatened.
No, I was just. I felt I haven't been hit on. I can't remember ever being hit on in Los Angeles. It's probably happened. Oh, there was that creepy guy at your birthday. Actually, it was less of a hit on, more of like a trying to get close to me and touch me. But I think he did that with like everybody. I was just saying, who's gonna respond to me like dancing all creepy by you? But anyway, I don't remember. I hopefully it's just because I don't get out enough. But it's but I don't know. It was just like, oh, that's nice to hear. It's been a while.
Yeah, so now they have each other's numbers.
He doesn't have my number.
They've been
Great.
they've been texting nonstop.
Yeah. It was just like he just like suddenly looked more attractive to me because of the compliment. I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. But
Seamen don't neg.
yeah, semen.
No.
That's what it sounded like. But so that was.
Do you understand? Men don't neg people.
Yeah.
Compliment.
Compliments go a long way.
But also not like
overly-
creepily.
yeah.
Don't like be creepy about
especially
it.
when you happen to get someone in your car that's like super stressed out and not having a great day. And I mean, that was like, there's no way he would have known that. But it was a good coincidence. So.
Oh, I'm glad you survived that awkward experience.
Yes.
Well, I said up front it was light and it wasn't awkward.
Cool. So our first question.
But it's an experience most people would find awkward.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're supposed to read it, so I was just.
I decided. I thought I was going to give this one to you. Okay, so this one,
It's
this
not
is not a
long.
question. It's short and it's an insult.
Oh.
So we like I said, we read everything. There are exceptions to that. I deleted a request for someone sent in to do SEO for our website. So we don't read that. Sometimes we'll read spam if it's funny. But if someone is actually addressing the show, or it seems like they're addressing the show, then we do read it. And this is going. If you've never believed that that's true before, you're going to believe it right now. So an anonymous person wrote in, "Hi, Adam kind of looks like an alien. Erica looks like she's 70 years old. Richard reminds me of an off-brand gayer Hernando from Sense8. Darren is not funny.
Hernando.
Okay, bye." I think isn't Hernando the gay one?
Well, there are so
Well,
many
he
gay
says
ones.
gayer, so probably.
Well, but the
The
Mexican
actor
gay
or the
one.
actor's boyfriend?
Oh, I don't know. I think
Because
he
either
looked
way,
more-
I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I would say like
It's
like
so
I
rude.
I know I can look like an alien sometimes. That doesn't bother me. Erica does not look like she's 70.
No.
And so I don't know where that's coming from. Like, come up with a better insult. I can think of several. And
Thanks, Adam.
that would be funny about your looks.
You know what?
Not-
You don't need to
okay.
insult the show, people.
I
Okay,
can
they're
come up
insulting
with
each
more for me.
other.
It's not about you. I'm just saying it's not very creative.
I'm going to look up who Hernando
It's
is.
not.
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing that now.
Oh, okay.
I got distracted by
Because
insulting
either way, I
Erica.
take it as a compliment.
Their name's Hernando. Who?
Yeah, I mean, even if you're a knockoff, it's still pretty
Yeah.
good. But yeah,
And Darren doesn't care if you don't think he's funny. So
I think he might. A
Oh, he said
little.
Darren's not funny?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that was
That's
interesting
fine.
because does that mean that like you think Darren's
That's
hot and
fine.
we're hilarious? Because that's fine. If
I thought my
it's a
theory was
default.
that he was just going off of like what people say about people or whatever,
Mhm.
and so like everyone's always like, "Oh, Darren's so funny. You should have Darren on more." And maybe he was like, "Darren's not funny."
Mm.
Like everyone else is wrong, and I don't know. Maybe people have said, "Oh, Erica seems so young," and he's like, "Erica looks like she's 70."
I don't think anyone's ever said
and
Erica
maybe-
seems like she's...
Yeah,
And maybe people have said, "Oh,
most
Richard
people think
seems."
she's younger than she is. Like when people have guessed our ages, it's always low for both of
Oh,
us.
okay.
People are general. I actually once got someone when I was not even that old. I was 27, but he was like straight out of college that I worked with. I told him how old he was, and he just looked at me so shocked, and he was like, "My God, I had no idea." As if I was like 50. I was 27, but it was like he just assumed I was his age. That usually happens a lot.
Mm.
Where people are like who are like mid 20s or whatever at that time, and now I guess late 20s are like.
I'm
oh.
like
I think you're the
surprisingly...
boyfriend.
I'm surprisingly still one of the youngest people at my company, even though I keep aging. But everyone,
And so do they.
Whenever they find out how old I am, they're always like, "No,
Oh, I
that's
kind
not
of
possible."
see it now.
Like you're much younger than that.
Yeah.
He was in the remake
I
of
like
The
that.
Exorcist.
Oh.
It was hard to find a picture with him.
He's very attractive.
without the-
yeah, we'll take it. I don't care.
So maybe
Yeah.
in your case, everyone was like, "Ugh, Richard's so ugly," and he was like, "No,
Oh, he went the opposite
he's
direction.
attractive."
You actually
He's
have a
just
very
a
similar nose.
knockoff version.
I
I'll
don't
take
think
it. I don't
anyone's
care.
ever
Yeah,
insulted your
I'm
looks, so.
surprised. I never noticed it before, but now that this has been pointed out, I mean, like I can totally.
Well,
see
the
it.
other day I
see
posted
it?
a photo of myself. It was like super
look at the nose.
photoshopped.
Look at the nose right there.
But his expression.
I didn't change the way I looked. I just changed the
I'll
way
send you
the
a link.
picture, like the black and white and all that stuff. Anyway,
Oh, the
the
emo
filter.
photo
It was
you
super.
posted?
It was super filtered. The email photo, and one of our friends posted like, "Oh, hey, Joseph Gordon-Levitt," and I was
Yeah,
like,
saw that.
"No."
I was like, what?
Oh.
That's very not true. But I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I
can
know,
see it.
I know you're
Mm.
attracted to him, but that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
who I would think of in comparison.
No.
Like it was, you look good in the photo, but
So-
it's like,
I almost commented
I don't
so
see it at
emo,
all.
but I didn't want to take away from the compliment of you looking like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No, I don't care. I'll take all compliments.
Well,
What
it
is
wasn't
a
really a
compliment?
compliment. It was
Okay.
more of an observation.
you
Take
won't take
some
all
R.
compliments. That is not true. You're very
I'll
bad
take
at
all
compliments.
comments. How about that?
I'll
Yeah,
take comments,
if
not
you can
compliments.
enjoy them privately without anyone in the room, I think you'll take a compliment.
You just texted me, Adam.
I texted you a link to the actor's IMDb page so you can
I
compare.
don't think I look like him. Do you think I look like that?
You guys have a very
Oh
similar
yeah, your nose does look like you. Yeah.
Look at some of the other
Yeah,
pictures.
I wouldn't say.
Scroll through
look
the
at
one.
other
There are a couple
pictures.
before The Exorcist. We're gonna have to link to this one in the
Yeah.
show
Okay,
notes now.
se llama Alfonso Herrera.
This is not how I thought this conversation would go.
Sí. Yeah.
But yeah, so I what I wanted to talk about with this, rather than just read it and be like, fuck you, whoever you are, because I feel like this person is.
I'm not
probably-
insulted.
Yeah, I'm not either. Like someone called me pretentious at Lifehacker, and that bothered me more. What are you laughing about?
Erica just commented on the photo.
You said you would take all comments, so I thought I'd do it.
On the Instagram photo.
And I
Okay.
just looked at the.
You're gonna have
I
to
just
text
saw
me
the
a link to that too. Well, I know where to find it. So
So
that
we're not insulted.
yeah, I think you should try harder, whoever you are, if you're still listening to the show.
I mean, that's not an invitation to try harder,
No,
but
you're like they're just a troll, and like there's absolutely nothing to get from this. We don't even care. Like we're not insulted. We're not amused.
Well,
It's just someone being a troll.
yeah, but I mean, like some people might be hurt by this, and like when I was at Lifehacker, I got an anonymous comment about being pretentious and stupid and stuff, and I get like it's entirely. I don't know why this comment was made in particular. It would have been helpful if I got like constructive feedback. So if I was sounding that way, because I don't want to come across like that. But I probably did sometimes because I was, less evolved or mature, I guess. And it's a hard job when you're writing all of those articles. Sometimes you say something stupid. I can think of many occasions where I said things that I would correct right now if I, was able to. I don't have access to.
yeah. I think we gave this guy enough time. We got to move on.
Oh well, what I want to say though is like. I want to make sure this gets across is like it's not nice to say that.
Oh.
That should go without saying. But it's like why would you want to make someone else feel bad if you have a problem with somebody, with us, whomever? I mean, like our maybe Darren's sense of humor doesn't suit you, and that is a little bit more relevant to what we do here. But what we look like is, and what anyone looks like is irrelevant to a podcast or even a video podcast. Like we're just doing what we do. You don't have to like it. You don't have to listen to it. Or if you are uncomfortable, don't enjoy something that we did, and you want to suggest something that we could do better, we're clearly reading this stuff. So send it in, and we'll not only talk about it amongst ourselves, but talk about it on the show unless you ask us not to. And yeah, so I don't think this person's going to hear it.
Why not? Clearly they listen.
Well, they listened once, but apparently we were too ugly, so that was I don't know.
And Darren wasn't funny, so apparently they didn't want to listen to any of the other guests.
Yeah.
Then
Goodness.
I guess because then because your theory of them hearing everyone make compliments or like comments about us and he's responding to that doesn't hold, because if he's only heard it once, how does he know what everyone else is saying?
Yeah. The only thing we know for sure is he's not the Lyft driver I had.
Yeah.
But if you're still out there and listening, like, no hard feelings, just, maybe be constructive next time.
It's fine. I don't really care.
Yeah.
You sound like you care when you say that, though.
I mean, I don't. Who cares?
I don't care.
Nah.
That's better. That was a better tone. Okay, so Erica, what's our first question?
Is from Ryan. Dear Awkward Human, I've written in before. I'm a 24-year-old male. My awkward situation is the following. The other night, I caught up with one of my closest female friends. We hadn't caught up in 6 months or so. The topic came up of dating. I said that I don't think I'll limit myself to just dating girls. She responded supportively, which is great. The one thing she did say after I detailed how a couple times I thought I was gay, that, quote, it made perfect sense, and we, my friends, had talked about how it was a possibility, end quote. I'm glad I have supportive friends. It's just irking me that they speculated about it through my time in college but never talked to me about it. I'm also not wanting to declare myself bisexual, more so loving whomever, aka the person. Should I let it go and just be happy I have accepting friends? Should I ask certain friends what was said and discuss about my sexuality?
I think this sounds like you're maybe being a little too sensitive. I get it, though.
No, I get it, because I think in this time right now, we do have way more identity politics and kind of like understanding what our sexuality is and stuff. And I think in your case, you say you're kind of like more into the person than you are into like what they physically are. That would probably more describe pansexual than anything else. But I think you have a right to feel not necessarily offended, but, you know, however you're feeling about your friends talking about you behind your back, like, I think you have that right to feel that way. But, like, if you want to talk to them about, like, kind of understanding a little bit more where you come from so that they're not talking about it in a way that doesn't represent who you are, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with him, like, talking to them about it. I don't think that he should be not offended. I don't think that he should dwell on what they're saying about him. And if they are saying anything that he feels is negative, then have that conversation, because you don't want those people in your life.
Yeah. But I really don't think they are. I mean, so coming from like, I guess
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I don't know why that came up.
Thinking about it from a time where I had friends who were coming out at a time that it was accepted, but not as widespread as it is now. Like, it was still kind of like no one came out in high school, for instance. When I was in high school, like, there were 400 people and supposedly no one was gay. Obviously not, right? But then in college, people started very slowly, very cautiously started coming out. And some people took it until university. Some people took it until they were in their 20s. I think it's more common now to come out a little earlier, but you're kind of at that age where I had friends who were coming out. And you do talk about it, but for the most part, when we would talk about it, it was more of like, you wouldn't want to do anything to, like, you wouldn't want to read the person wrong, right? So, like, if someone was probably gay and they were talking about how they wanted to date and they didn't want to come out yet, and they're talking about dating girls, you wouldn't want to set them up with someone if you thought they were just in the closet. Or you wouldn't want to take them to a situation where they felt like, oh, they should be hitting on girls. Just the same way that if you're like, oh, I'm not sure if this person's out or not, you might talk about it with someone and be like, is this something that I can talk about with them? Like, the fact that they're gay, or is it going to put them on a spot? Because if they're not out yet and you say a comment to that effect, that they're going to be like, they might feel like they have to deny it, or like they're being judged or whatever. So in my experience, it was always just like, oh, it's so, like, if you're sure. Like, I had a friend, like, we were sure and we just knew he wasn't out yet. Like, he had pictures of guys, like, shirtless in his locker, you know? And we're like, is this person out yet? But he was absolutely not. And so, of course, like, when he said he came out, no one was surprised. We didn't say we were talking about it or like, oh, we've known that, but it was just kind of a known thing. But we would never have wanted to say it to his face in a way that put him on the spot because we knew he wasn't ready. And so, like, when you're talking about these kinds of things with your friend being like, oh, it makes sense, they're probably just kind of waiting for you to come out. Like, I don't think it's like, oh my God, did you hear he might be gay? Or like saying shit like that.
That actually reminds me of a scene in Love, Simon where there's this guy who's like very, very flamboyant, and he only hangs out with these like 3 or 4 other women, and he's very like, I guess like his fashion is very like flamboyant and feminine and stuff. And so like when he's like coming out to them, they're all just very supportive. They're like, oh, I'm so glad he told us, blah, blah, blah. And then there's one girl who's like, what? And she's like trying to act surprised by it. And the friend is like, no, don't do that. So it's like, I think that's like a perfect example of what you're kind of talking about like people coming out and like, how do you react to that?
But with that guy, like, people weren't talking about like, oh, are you going to go on a date with a guy? Like, or like, how is it being gay? Like, they were bringing it up because they knew that it hadn't been a thing yet, right? And so you don't want to make that choice for someone before they're ready.
I would say that, I mean, like, my grandmother, my bubby, who's in an Apple video, this if you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. I'm just very excited about that. It's on their channel on YouTube. Anyway, she's funny, and you can see that now publicly. But she'd said when I came out that I knew since he was 3. I'm like, no, you didn't. That was my response. It was like, no, you didn't. You might have known early, but you didn't know that early. No one knows that early, except a mother's womb, and it doesn't tell the mom. So it's like it's weird. Like people know sometimes or think they know, and it's a hard thing to bring up. And I would say that it would make you more uncomfortable if they had approached you about that before you were ready. So what they're doing, and I assume from their perspective, assuming the best or even not the worst, pretty much any level above, I hate gay people, I'm just going to trick him and make him think other. I mean, like I can't think of a plausible situation where someone would talk behind your back when they like you. In a negative way about your sexuality. They're probably just wondering, but they're like, well, I don't want to make him uncomfortable. I don't want to put him on the spot, like you said. And I don't want to, I like, he'll figure it out in his own time and he'll let us know when he's ready. And I think generally speaking, when someone's coming out, it's better to not react with, oh, I already knew, or I'm shocked. Like, it's better to just not have a reaction other than, that's great. It changes nothing about our relationship, and I love you. If it's, it's that kind of friendship where you are at that level and you're saying those sorts of things. But either way, like, no reaction other than like, all right. That's as much as I think a coming out reaction should be. So it's really sensitive. It's a huge thing for you, and it's not as big for them. They can't relate necessarily. So I think you should just cut them a little slack. That's why I say I think you're being a little sensitive about it, not in like a way that's bad, but that you need to just recognize that the context is very different for both of you. And so your sensitivity is totally fine and understandable, but you also need to understand theirs as well.
Like the way he ended it is like, oh, well, should I ask him what was discussed about my sexuality? Like, that's where I agree with you, where it's like, no, that's pushing it a little too far. Like, people talk about people all the time. Most of the time, if they're your friends, they're not talking about it in a bad way. They're just, like, looking out for you or wondering. Or, like, it's the same way that if someone's been in a bad mood for a while, someone might be like, oh, is this person depressed? And maybe they're not. They're just in a bad mood,
Yeah, but in that case, if they're, in a bad mood for, like, 3 months, maybe you bring something up.
Sure,
like,
but I'm saying people talk about their friends quote unquote behind their back, but it's not necessarily to talk behind their back. It's to be like, is there something going on that I should know about, or like, am I reading the situation right, or whatever?
Yeah. Well, you and I were having a conversation behind Darren's back last week, or was it on Monday?
Hi, Darren.
But we were talking about Darren's sensitivity at tennis.
Right. Well, I would say it wasn't so much behind his back because me and Darren had talked about it.
Yeah, and
so it was like more of a like, oh, this thing happened. Yeah. It was weird.
But we had a few things that we did talk about that he hadn't been involved in yet. And so it's not like we weren't hiding anything. Nothing was said that we would not say to his face. But it's one of those things, like, sometimes you have discussions about your friends because something happened. You want to...
like, was this a weird reaction for this person?
Yeah. And so sometimes we, like, get a little analytical. And I had mentioned during this conversation that I like, this always makes me a little uncomfortable because then I start thinking about, obviously, Erica and maybe not Sam because you haven't been exposed to enough of my behavior yet. But I'm sure, like, both of you have talked about me with other people. Like, that's just how it works. I don't like thinking about that because it's a little weird that, it's a little weird to think like, what did someone say about me? But
I think it has to be that has to be accepted.
Yeah,
for everyone has to accept that because you talk to people to gauge your feelings and your emotions and how like you have to like try to justify. I reacted this way when I heard this, or when they said this, or when we were having this conversation. Like, this is how I felt. This is what I'm reacting. Is that crazy? Like, or what? And a true fan will tell you, like, yeah, you overreacted, or let's bounce these ideas off each other, and it helps you.
Friend?
Yes,
it sounds like a true fam or fam.
No, friend. I don't say fam because that's weird to me. But like a real friend will like help you through those emotions and like kind of like ground you and bring you back to where like to process your thoughts correctly. And I think that everyone should be able to do that in a way that's not like just bashing the person.
It should.
I mean, even if you do want to do that, I think that there are certain situations that you should be able to do that.
Yeah, you can let out some negativity. But so there are a couple of friends of ours, which I'm just gonna not qualify that in any way for just to make it easy. But they dated, and I think it was a year into it. One of them was staying at the other one. They may have been living together. When you figure out who I'm talking about, Erica, let me know.
I have not.
But she was at his apartment while he was in France.
Mm-hmm.
You know now?
Mm-hmm.
So...
I mean, I figured when you said friends that's where you were going.
Yeah. So there was an instance in which she was using his computer and decided to snoop into his emails. No, it's not.
Okay.
I don't think so. Not the way I'm going with this.
Okay.
There was a situation where she snooped, found some stuff that was very negative about her, and naturally reacted in a negative way to it. But this was stuff that had been said about her prior to them dating, meeting. Well, I think they had just met. But it was like, if you know what it was in context, it was this like silly, private joke, like really not appropriate, really like I guess shock value kind of joke between two friends having a conversation privately. Nothing he ever said in public. It did not represent his feelings. He was just being crude because we all have weird shit that we do. Like I would have not done that personally, but like that's something that he does, and he knows enough not to put that publicly. But she found it and didn't know that, and so there was this. They almost broke up over it, and it's one of those things where my feeling when I was talking to him about it and trying to be there for him during this, because it was a complicated situation and he was sad, obviously. He was I was saying, like, listen, what you said definitely sounds bad, and her reaction's not that weird because of that. But yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. This was private for you. It was never supposed to be seen by anybody. I would recommend maybe in the future deleting those things, but just so that doesn't happen. But it's it's like you did that. It like in context for you, it makes sense. This is the reason why you don't snoop or hear about what your friends are saying behind your back, because they might say something that sounds really shitty when that really doesn't reflect how they feel, or they were being a complete idiot at the time, as is sometimes the case, have changed their minds and shouldn't be held to that feeling, other than like if you find out about it by accident or something, then maybe they should say, I'm sorry, I definitely don't feel that way, and you should take that.
And very simply, as it has been said before, it is it's not your business what anyone else thinks of you.
Okay, RuPaul.
It is, as RuPaul says, it's not your business what other people think.
All right, we should move on.
But if you do want to be confronted by your friends about something, not your sexuality, but I mean, like, if there's something that is, that is making you uncomfortable, it's okay to say, like, hey, I completely understand why you didn't tell me that you thought I was bisexual or whatever. But if you want to bring it up, I like to know that stuff. If people are talking about me in some way, I'd rather be asked. So it's not your responsibility to ask or to remember that all the time. But if you do remember, I'm just wanting to let you know that I'm okay with that, and you don't have to feel like you can't talk to me like that. So you could do something like that if you really wanted, but I would say just better not to think about it.
It happened in college, right? All this happened in
This
college, and now
sounds
he's
like that,
24.
yeah.
He said, they were talking
Move
about
on.
in college.
Be drama free.
Wait.
Don't revert back to the past.
But isn't this like recent?
Yeah, but he said during college they were talking about his sexuality.
Oh yeah, I guess it's the summer now.
Don't even touch it.
He's 24.
Just keep moving, sweetie. Just
we were
keep
in college at
moving.
24.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Next question from Grace. This one should be quick. Hey, so Grace, who's 26 and a female, heterosexual, writes, hey, so my boyfriend, he's a frosting licker. Give him a cupcake and he will lick the top like an ice cream cone. He leaves a thin layer of glossy, sugary saliva on top before softly gumming the cake into his mouth with bites that look huge. They're not huge, they're little baby bites. He just wants to feel the cake on his lip, I assume. This disgusts me to my core. I don't know how to talk to him because I will lose my mind thinking about it. My fault for keeping, I think she means it's my fault for keeping silent for 3 years, but in my defense, I thought I could avoid it. Like, how hard is it to not eat cake with somebody? Harder than I had thought.
It should not be that hard.
No.
Wait,
I mean, unless you live with Adam, because Adam eats cake all the time.
Oh, speaking of which, we have a bunch of cupcakes in the fridge.
I saw that and I was
Mini
like, why are there
cupcakes.
3
So
different
cupcakes.
cupcakes?
Because
Right here.
Hanson's
We have a
is
lot,
delivering
yeah.
on Postmates, and the
you had to
minimum is
get that many.
$20, and they're 50 cents
Oh my God.
for minis. So I was like, I'll just get all the flavors, and then there won't be a problem if someone eats too many of one flavor
There would certainly
that
won't
Where
I
are
had
they from?
imagined were mine.
Where are they from?
I don't know.
Hanson's, down in Little
They're
Ethiopia.
like ridiculously
Oh, they're really
inexpensive.
good.
It's so
Well,
cheap there.
I would say the price is better than the cupcake, but it is a very good cupcake for 50 cents.
And the full-size cupcake is $1. It's normally
Yeah.
like
I know.
$4.
I just got
These are
minis
really
'cause
good.
I
I've never
figured-
tried Hanson's. Are they good quality?
They're
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
They're not the best cupcake
Please
I've ever
review
had.
cupcakes on this podcast.
You're like, why did we spend 15 minutes talking about a blanket?
Well, next time you're
Man,
on, we could slot some
Just
cupcakes on.
get a bunch
Yes.
of cupcakes
Weren't
from
we
different
gonna do
places.
that?
And those who suffer from
We were gonna
misophonia,
have
I'm
a
sorry.
cupcake review show in the car wash.
Now
advance.
he's wasting time.
What is
Me,
misophonia?
because I brought it up.
Yep.
What exactly what this
misophonia?
woman is talking about,
Wait,
I think.
Would you just ask what's misophonia?
Yeah, because
It is-
Sam
yes,
said it.
For those who
Oh, I
are
didn't
who
hear that.
suffer from misophonia, that podcast, sounds of eating or any type of
Yeah,
weird
it's-
sound that you're making with your face or anything, or like picking your nails, biting your nails, can trigger like hateful.
Remember,
Thoughts of
Matthias
people.
thought I had that
Yeah.
when I was
He
saying
hates
like
mouth
sound.
noises.
I get
Me too.
really.
Me too.
Well, I get aggravated by sound a lot, but it's not. It's not because mouth. Yes, but oh, sorry everyone who just heard that. Yes, that was you. That was your fault, Sam. You just grabbed the microphone and made it, and just boomed in their ears.
Are you serious?
Yeah, every time you touch that, they can hear it.
I've been touching it all this entire time.
Usually I point it out, but I just figured you'd stop.
That's going to help.
I figured eventually you'd get it into the position. I'd be like, I'm not doing
Oh
it
my
today.
God! Always let me know.
Well, so yeah,
I'm
this
gonna
is-
write into this podcast.
you know,
I'll be
so
like, no one is
Ryan.
telling me what I'm doing wrong.
this is a situation where I should have spoken up. And you would be right.
Oh my god.
So
criticize
just to get
me.
back on track, Adam always has cupcakes. So if you live with Adam, you might be in this situation. Otherwise, I completely
I'll lick
agree. Why would it be so hard to avoid? I mean, I
What if
think
you're
I
together
have.
and you go to birthdays?
Okay.
I would say
Still
in the
doesn't happen that
last
often.
year, I've maybe been in 2 situations where I've seen Jacob eat cake, and I live with him, and I go to many social activities with him.
Yeah, for the amount of cake that's in this house, I almost never see Richard eat it. And you have some eating habits that I find unpleasant, as I'm sure I have for you. Mostly slurping, but it's not you specifically.
When I slurp my soup.
Well, it's not like the soup. I understand. It's sometimes you slurp things that I'm not
Like
even
ice cream.
sure how you do it.
I slurp ice cream.
Yeah, but when it hasn't melted, and I don't know how that happens.
Well, because he wants it to melt.
So,
So,
that I actually might prefer more than the soup, just because it's mind-boggling.
The thing
to me.
is,
I don't
because the way I
understand.
eat ice cream is I put it in the spoon or whatever, I scoop it, and then I put my mouth over it, and
you
when
melt
I when I pull the spoon away, I'm not putting the whole thing. Like, I'm not taking the whole thing in my mouth. I'm taking pieces of it, I guess, from the spoon. And because the ice cream isn't sometimes just like completely smooth or like little grooves and stuff, like I think that's what the slurping is coming from. Because
You know what? This sounds kind of
I-
similar to how this guy's eating a cupcake. So I feel like this is the most like relatable example. It's like you're eating ice cream really weird. You're putting your lips on it, but you're not eating the whole thing. You're making noises.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it, Adam?
Well,
Tell them.
sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I chide him a little.
yeah,
Because,
he will be like, "You're slurping your blah blah blah."
Oh, I don't do that anymore. I have done that, but
How do
I
you
try
even
not-
slurp that?
I'll try to do that. And as I'm a partial alien, that is definitely what I sound like.
But don't you kind of feel like there are bigger issues that you could be upset about in your relationship?
I mean, not if you. I met someone yesterday who was telling me we found out that we both grew up in Minnesota, but she grew up in a town that's very rural, that has 700 people, and there are a lot of people that would be generally classified as bigoted or at least extremely socially conservative in a way that is at best borderline bigoted, but not everybody. She came out of that town, but anyway. The point is, they're not racist because it's a very integrated city, so they only have other Christians. It's an all Christian town, I think, but they only have other Christians to like I guess, hassle or hate on. So her family was Calvinist, or is Calvinist, and I guess I'm assuming. I don't want to assume actually.
Come on.
Yes, other and the more predominant Christian denomination would be like, oh, you're doing Jesus wrong. I don't think you're supposed to actually do Jesus.
I don't understand what your point is.
Well, I forgot now, but I forgot what the question.
How would you react to the ice cream?
When the relationship is perfect, sometimes you just find like the dumbest things to hate on because there's nothing else.
So you think the relationship is too good, and so she's focusing on.
I'm just saying that maybe that's a possibility. Maybe go sit in the bathroom while he poops sometime, and then maybe the cake thing won't bother you so much.
Right.
Because no one can enjoy that. Well,
I guess I just feel like, you're talking about the way Richard eats ice cream, but you're mostly amused by it, right? So it's like,
I mean, I don't like the mouth sound.
I think that you have to, in a relationship that's been going on for a long time, there are little things that your partner has been doing forever that you never thought about really. Yeah. And then when you like finally notice it, like you've just like when you've been together for so long, you just notice these things, like these little things that you never noticed before, and then you're like, oh, that's annoying. And then you let it irk you. Yeah. And I think that if you can kind of like in your mind just like twist it or ignore it or do whatever, like when Adam, sometimes he makes like mouth noises when he's eating and stuff. And so like
I'll sleeping. I mean, like if we want to like really take a stab at me, I do it while you're asleep, and I think it wakes you up sometimes.
Yeah, and so
I apologize.
Why do you eat so much in bed?
Because I get hungry late at night out because my medicine makes it so I don't have an appetite, and so the only time I can eat like actually have an appetite is when it gets late. So if I'm up late enough, sometimes I'm just like I don't want to wake up and feel like and maybe get a headache because I didn't eat enough, and it's really hard for me to gauge.
So the way I deal with it is that I'll put headphones on or something. Like I'll do something to like block out the thing
why you went back to the headphones.
To block out the thing that I don't like, because it's not a reflection on who he is, and it's not a reflection on how I feel about him or whatever, that I don't like this one noise. It's just something I don't like, so I just take myself out of that situation.
Pick your battles.
When your boyfriend is licking icing, don't look at him when he's doing that.
Yeah, and she says like how hard is it to like not constantly be around someone eating cake, and it's like, I mean, I'm sure I've been near Adam when he's eating cake a million times this year, and like I don't feel like I've been close enough to you to pay attention to how you're eating it, right? Yeah. So it's like, even if you live with the person, like, do you have to sit right next to him while he's eating the cake? Do you have to eat the cake at the same time? Like, there's so many things you could do to just be like, oh, here's your cupcake, I'm going to have mine later, or I'm going to do the dishes, or let's watch TV so you're not focused on the cupcake.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like with Erica, it's the fruit thing. I can't stand listening to you eat fruit. That actually, I sometimes believe, but it's because it takes so long when we're watching TV, and I'm like, no, I can't understand the TV because all I hear is the fruit sucking. But it's just like we're human beings, so like I might hassle Erica more than I'll hassle Richard because we do that to each other. But it's but I mean, well, I probably do it more than you do it to me. But we have that kind of humor with each other. If it is ever bothering you, you should say something.
But you said, like if the Richard is doing something really weird suddenly that you didn't notice before, you'll like make a joke about it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's so I guess maybe that's something she can do is joke about it a little bit. But I feel like it's gonna come out in a really mean way though. So maybe.
If she's actually angry about it, then yeah. But if she's just like, I don't understand, she can be like, I've never really gotten why you do that to a cupcake. Like, what's the deal?
Well, so there's one thing that Richard does in bed that infuriates me.
We are running out of time. We have to not.
No, but we'll wrap it up here.
You can continue on.
There's one thing that Richard does in bed that infuriates me, and it is completely unwarranted. I'm going to say it, but you should not take this as you should change your behavior in any way. I just want to preface it with that. But like, not every night, but most nights, you take a super long time to settle into the sheets. Like when you're like, it's like you're having a fight with them. And I don't know what it is about this, that it's not you, it's the noise. Something about the noise, just it's like not knowing when it's going to end, I think, is what drives me crazy. And it's not your fault.
I do not settle into bed very well. Yeah. I'm not a good sleeper.
And the thing is, I do the same thing, so I have absolutely no right to complain about it. I wish I could just not feel that way, but that's all me. And the way your boyfriend is eating the cupcakes, I wouldn't say that's all you. That sounds pretty gross. I think we could probably agree on that.
But it sounds like he just loves the cupcake.
He just likes
he's
the
just making
icing.
love
Like
to
he
it.
likes the icing.
He wants to feel it on his lips.
Yeah,
but she
but I
just
think-
it triggers something in her
Yeah,
that she hates.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but
she
next
can't-
time he's
I
doing
do
that,
think
think
it
about
is a
how he
little-
eats you out.
Yeah.
Because it's probably similar.
You
Oh
just
no,
put that
no,
cupcake
don't
really
think about
big
that.
bite.
Oh no.
Because it's probably the way he licks the
Oh,
frosting.
Richard, you just ruined that relationship.
Yep, you sure did.
Yeah, maybe that's what it
Sorry,
is.
sorry,
That's just the
Grace.
sexual nature of it. She's like,
Yeah, because I mean saliva. Who cares? Like I mean,
Mhm.
it's all up on your vagina. It's all up on your mouth. It's all up on your titties. Like it's everywhere.
I think this is a great time to segue into our last question. Good
Well,
luck with
it's not because
cupcake.
Sam has to go to her rehearsal now. So we're going to.
Bye, Sam.
We're going to
please
segue
continue
into that.
on
Yeah.
without me.
I'm gonna take
We'll do
Sam
our best.
downstairs and give
Listening.
her a cupcake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What, so
please.
we're just
Or
going to
more.
entertain the listeners while
Yeah.
you do that?
No, we're gonna cut to commercial or something, and we'll be right back,
Oh,
and
okay.
there will be one less
After
person.
these messages.
Yes.
So-
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm like, oh,
You're. I was gonna
It's
say you're welcome
always
for being here, but thank you for
fine.
being here.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Always a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Did you
Thank
pause
you very
it?
much.
No, not yet. Should we?
Yeah.
All right. Commercial break.
If you are alive today, you've experienced the difficulty that comes with eating. Diet and exercise just isn't enough. If you eat food, you're going to die. Carbohydrates cause diabetes, Jews can't drink milk, oranges cause cancer, and gluten ruins everything. And that's just the beginning. No matter what you eat, problems are around the corner. In fact, 100% of food consumers have experienced death at some time during their lives. If you suffer from dietary issues, stop kidding yourself. Help is available, and it's called Anorexicil. Anorexicil is a fast-acting and powerful appetite suppressant, antihistamine and antiemetic. It tells your brain you've eaten so you don't desire food. If your mouth comes into contact with any type of food, Anorexicil continues to protect. Along with a food-free diet, Anorexicil is 48 to 64% effective at preventing food-related illness. Anorexicil is FDA approved to reduce the risk of diabetes and irritable bowel syndrome. Don't take Anorexicil for more than 3 weeks, or if you suffer from stomach ulcers. Otherwise, you may experience side effects such as general discomfort, pain, and death. If you suffer from food-related illness, don't kid yourself. Talk to your doctor about your risks and Anorexicil today.
And we're back for our last question of the show.
Just last Sunday, I woke up with paramedics
Where
in my
was it
room.
from?
I'm going to get there. I'm not doing the thing that I always do.
Okay.
Last Sunday, I woke up with paramedics in my room, hosting me up to get me into an ambulance. Why? For suicide I didn't commit.
Oh, you meant hoisting.
What did I say?
Hosting.
Oh, hoisting.
That one I usually wouldn't, but that one.
My
might have been
name is
confusing.
Jack. I'm 17 and I'm gay. My friend Lacey was spending the night for a sleepover, and we were talking about Roseanne, and she was saying it'd be funny to do Ambien to see if it turns us into bitches for Trump. It was Saturday, so I was like, whatever. But when I wake up, she's gone. I'm getting hauled into an ambulance, and my mother is hysterical because she thinks I'm like super depressed, but I'm not. After 2 days of arguing with the hospital, where I was basically committed because apparently that's what they do, I finally convinced them I am not depressed or suicidal, and they let me go after explaining it to my mother for like 2 hours. Oh my god. During all this, I found out what Lacey did, which was write a fake suicide note and leave it in my hand, which my mom found after I didn't wake up for like 3 hours after she left, and obviously you know what came next. Lacey says she didn't mean for my mom to see it, but she has been jealous that I'm dating this guy she definitely is crushing on big time, and I'm 106% sure that she did this for revenge. That bitch is dead to me, so whatever, that's not my problem anymore. My problem is my mom, who is still treating me like I'm depressed, and she will not leave me alone. My mom even talked to Lacey, who told her the truth. Too late, bitch. And my mom just has doubts, I guess. I can't even masturbate because she will unlock my door if I don't get up and do it myself to prove I don't have a gut in my mouth or an Ambien prescription, I guess. My dad is totally useless with emotions, so what do I do to convince my mom I'm not suicidal? Like, the opposite of dying is just not dying, which is what I'm doing all the time and always have, so what the fuck else is there? Your friend sounds awful. That's terrible.
Why
Well,
does it
he's
say
already
it's
cut her out,
anonymous if
so.
his name, he's like, I'm Jack.
What?
He said his name is Jack, but it says on our sheet that he's anonymous.
Maybe he didn't fill it out correctly.
No, that's a code problem. But sorry.
Okay. Why are you acting surprised?
Well, no, because it's been fixed, and this is the first time it happened again. So anyway, sorry. Not that.
Well,
that was definitely not
he's already
relevant.
said fuck that bitch. So good.
I know, but it's like fucked up his whole relationship with his mom.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's temporary. She'll realize he's not going to kill himself.
Maybe.
In like a few weeks.
Parents can be very sensitive about their
Yes.
child committing suicide.
Yeah, when
Especially at 17.
As a child who's been in danger while I was living with my parents, well, I don't know why I'm tiptoeing around this, because I was sexually abused by my first boyfriend. When my parents found out about that, because I told them, that was a very tense time for us. That actually happened, so that was, that's a little different, but it's, I was kind of on lockdown. Like if I had a guy over, they had to inspect his license because my first boyfriend lied about his age and was like pretended to be 17 when he was, I guess, 23 at the time. So that was, yeah. I mean, like it got to a point where I still have issues with the choices that they made for like that year before I was able to get out of the house. I had a curfew after I had gone to college. I had to sit and talk to them and say, like, well, not them, my dad. I should be clear that this was all my dad. It was a situation where I had to say to him, I don't have a curfew in college. I understand that it makes you feel better if I'm home by a certain time, but it's kind of, like you're going to have to get over this at some point. And I'm willing to work with you on that, but it's weird going away for most of the time that I'm spending throughout the year and being able to do whatever I want with my time, and then coming home and not having that freedom all of a sudden. Like, I'm still going to come home, but it makes me not want to be here. It makes me feel like I'm a prisoner in the house. So because I'm an adult and there shouldn't be a curfew when I'm an adult. So that my dad let it go, and it was okay after that, curfew wise. But it's one of those things that, I think he wouldn't have been okay with doing that when I had turned 18 but hadn't left for college. That would have never happened.
Well, I think a lot of parents feel if there's a concern or something that they want their kids to do, like if they live in their house, they're kind of like,
it's my house, my rules.
Yeah, my house, my rules. But it's
hate
like,
that phrase, so I had to say it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually going to say that specifically, but that like if they are 18, if they really don't like it, they can go out and live on their own. But while they're in the house, whatever. So in this case, like I don't think that like if this kid turns 18, the mom's going to stop worrying about it.
No, but it's also one of those. I mean, this is irrelevant to age, really. Like, I think if you were at home, if you can't say, I'm old enough to kill myself now, so leave me alone.
Sure.
But it's one of those things that can get really tense between a kid and a parent if it goes on too long. So I would give her, like, maybe a week or two to just let her have this for a little while. And you can say, you can reiterate, Mom, I'm fine. This this didn't really happen. I get that you're concerned, but you really don't have to worry this much. And I would like my space. You can say that stuff politely. And if she's not getting it, if it's not changing within a reasonable amount of time, which may not be 2 weeks for a mom who thought she just lost her kid. I'm do understand from her perspective that was probably super scary, and you should appreciate it as a gay kid whose parents seem to care about you a lot. I don't know every detail, but she was upset that you died and you're out and gay at 17 and living with your family. So a lot of kids would don't have that, and that's why they kill themselves. So that might be actually an argument in your favor. Like, Mom, I love you, and Dad, I love that you allow me to be who I am. And that you were so worried about me when you thought I was going to die, but it's the opposite of that. It's because of your love and how you've treated me throughout the years that I don't want to kill myself, and I love my life. That support that you give me is what keeps me going. However, right now you're laying it on way too thick. I understand where it's coming from, but I need to be able to live my life, and I want to feel like I have a good relationship with you, and I can't do that if you're hassling me. and trying to unlock my door and stuff like that. So I think that's the conversation you can have with her, and hopefully that will help if she doesn't get over it. I mean, also count your blessings too, because your dad's not doing this. It sounds like.
Do the parents know that he cut contact off with the friend? Because I feel like if that was super clear, that would like maybe reassure them a little bit that it's like she was obviously crazy. He doesn't want to be friends with her anymore. She told the mom, "Oh yeah, I did this," and he's like, I don't want to be friends with anyone who would do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's worth working into the conversation if it hasn't come up yet, but I'm guessing because the mom talked to Lacey, I don't know, I'm probably just reading too much into this, but I feel like he's like, you better tell my mom the truth because she's hassling me, and if you ever want to be my friend again, then you'll do this, and then he's like, fuck you anyway, but...
Right, but the mom's concerned that like he still has an Ambien prescription. So if he reinforces like she had the Ambien, she convinced me to do it. It was a one-time thing, and yeah, I don't talk to her anymore, and this is not something you should worry about because I cut her out of my life because she did something shitty. Yeah,
the only thing you have to be careful with there is that if she, maybe you find out that the reason she did this is something that you would forgive if you knew it, and if she's like, I'm so sorry I did this. Your friendship means more than me than anything. I was insane. I was a shitty friend. What do I need to do to make it up to you? And then she just, tries and tries and tries until you realize that your friendship is more important than one really stupid mistake. Maybe you don't. Maybe she is a crazy bitch.
Would someone who did that to you while you were living with your parents and like fucked up your life and made your parents think you were dead?
No.
Because I don't think I would.
Nope.
That's too far.
Well, no, and you know what? Even if she came back... Even if she, who cares?
It made it seem like he was dead.
Who cares?
Really
It caused his mother, his parents. His mother sounds like it caused his mother to have to call 911. She was having this scare, and now his relationship, as of right now, is ruined with his mother. And it wouldn't matter how much my friend apologized to me. Like there are consequences.
Let me tell the story a different way and tell me if you couldn't forgive her in this situation. She writes a note, and we'll get to what's on the note in a minute, but she writes this note that the mom thinks is a suicide note. The mom finds the suicide note before Jack, right? Okay. Before Jack wakes up because he's sedated from Ambien, and thinks that he's going to die. Jack never sees the note, but the mom reads the note, and what it says on the note is, I am in love with, or not I'm in love with you, I love you, and I'm sorry. If it's just that, and maybe the friend, I mean, it doesn't sound like that's the case here because the friend's in love with somebody else, but I'm just trying to give an example of what, if Jack didn't know what was on the note, but on the note was something that was meant for him, had nothing to do with suicide.
Where was the friend? The friend was gone.
Yeah, but if the friend confessed something to Jack that was misinterpreted by the mother, and she wanted to get out of there before he saw it because she was nervous or embarrassed or whatever, that could, I'm just saying there are contexts in which it's forgivable. But I don't think that this one applies at all here. But
that the note was specifically a suicidal note.
Well, that's what he's saying. He could be assuming it's a suicide note.
What I was saying was in the context of we know it's a suicide note.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Because I'm
just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying he's wrong at all for being upset.
Though I appreciate it, I don't buy it. Because she left a suicide note
it's not
for him to wake up to.
You shouldn't buy it in this case.
Why? Like, what would that do when he woke up and saw a suicide note that he had supposedly written? Like, what does that do? It doesn't do anything, but it freaks out a mother. Like, clearly she wanted someone to see this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't want to have a friendship with someone who put me through a harrowing experience like that. I don't think that it's beyond forgiveness regardless. I don't think anything is.
Right. I'm not so much saying I wouldn't forgive the person or think about it. I'm saying I wouldn't want someone in my life that does that kind of shit because even if she apologizes, she might do something like that again. Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it would be like a fear-based thing, I think. In the best case scenario,
like assuming it was not a mistake, like what you're saying, assuming that she wrote a fake suicide note. And that was actually something that she was capable of doing. Like, who knows what else she's capable of doing.
Yeah. And it's just, I hope that she eventually realizes the error of her ways and that, I think the right thing to do is if she gives a sincere, good apology is you don't have to be friends with her anymore, but I don't think you should, give her the I would forgive her in this situation.
I wouldn't until
down
my
the
relationship
line.
with my mother was fixed.
Oh yeah,
because
that would.
Because if I was still having issues with my mom and she came up to me and was like, "I'm so sorry," and gave this heartfelt apology and everything, I'd be like, "No, like
my life
is still messed up. I can't forgive you for that. Like maybe in the future when things are hopefully better, like maybe we can come back and like have this conversation, but right now, no, I don't want you in my life." And that's the consequence she's gonna have to face. She has to learn this lesson of like, you don't do shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely. She should have consequences for her actions in this case, and unfortunately Jack has to deal with them.
Yes. And
I'm just saying, like, if people forgive people, like I'm talking about like 8 years from now or something, where they meet up, they're adults, it's so far in the past they don't even give a shit anymore, and she apologizes like hell again and again.
Yeah,
and
that's
again.
a whole different situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like next month.
But as far as the relationship with the mother, my personal opinion is that this isn't going to get fixed quickly. It's not going to be something that you can give a week, 2, 3, a month. Like I think that for something like this to have happened to her, she is going to need a lot of time to build up that trust again, regardless of the fact that it wasn't your fault. You still took Ambien and you and this was a scary moment. Like in her head, she's probably thinking, what else is he going to do?
Yeah. Well,
like
she
regardless
might be thinking,
of the suicide, what else is he going to do?
Yeah. If he's willing to do something stupid like take Ambien, which is not, I mean, I think it's probably just stupid because I guess I've never had an Ambien, but it sounds absolutely horrible.
Well, and he's saying that he was taking in the context to see if they got super weird, like Rosie O'Donnell. So, like, there wasn't like
not Rosie O'Donnell, Roseanne. In this situation, is very different.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, we were gonna take a 14-hour plane ride and Ambien help you sleep. It was like, I want to see if this makes me do something dumb, you know. So it wasn't a responsible choice.
Yeah. Right. So she may be worried about you because you took drugs without really thinking too much about it, and you know, when with something like this, I can understand why it seems like it wouldn't be a big deal. And it's not the biggest deal to take an Ambien. I say that hesitantly because I do not know the pharmacology of it. But she does, that is a very good point that the mom does have a legitimate reason to be concerned, even if it's a much smaller one than suicide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that unfortunately you're stuck with having to deal with it for a while, and you're going to have to
for a little while.
Prove to her that you are trustworthy again and that you're not suicidal. I mean, the main concern right now is that she thinks you're suicidal still. But, yeah, you're just going to have to live with that for a while. And I don't think it's going to be something that gets resolved as quick as you would like it to.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the case. I would say almost for sure going to be the case just because, you know, when does any problem resolve as quickly as you want it to? And especially in something like this where it's quite complicated.
There are emotions involved. Like it's too much. It's to see your child to see your child and be afraid that they've killed themselves. Like that is traumatizing.
I was looking for a reason to plug Nanette, the Netflix comedy special. We were both blown away by Hannah Gadsby. So watch that, everybody. But now I lost the reason. Okay, let's backtrack because I would like to actually plug this in context.
It's too much.
The emotions that sometimes she was talking about at one point in this in her performance. I think that's probably more accurate than saying it's just a comedy special. Is like very powerful stuff. And she was talking about how her, you know, like she had shame about being a lesbian in her heart, even though logically she knew better. And that can get ingrained in you whether you like it or not. And it's not something a switch you can just flip back on to, to start feeling better. And I think that's the case probably with the mother here, is that, you know, when what you were saying about emotions, being involved in that, making it take time, like that's why it takes time. Like you can get it out of your head, but you can't get it out of your heart. And when a mom has to make a choice between, do I believe everything my son says, or do I worry about him because I felt like I was almost going to lose him? Like, she's going to err on the side of keeping you alive. That's what parents do.
And here's the thing. We're living in a time where LGBT suicide is like at its highest.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she knows you're gay and you guys are okay with that. So imagine she's probably already got these fears of what your life is going to be as an LGBT person, discrimination and all that. Now she thinks you tried to kill yourself, and she's like, fuck, this is even more real than it was
especially
before.
In the context of this,
you just have to understand that. And though it's not fair to you that this all happened, that's just an unfortunate thing that you have to go through now.
Yes. There are a lot of things that are unfair in the world, and usually the victims have to deal with it. And the police shooting, a percentage of the police shooting African American people, that is obviously not the fault of any African American people in the United States. However, they're the victims of it. But being super angry and aggressive against the police just makes it seem like there's a war going on. And I don't think problems like that one can get resolved when both sides are just really angry at each other, because otherwise no one's listening. Mm-hmm. No one's listening to each other. And so unfortunately that burden falls on Black people to do, to be kind and understanding and listen to these, not all police, but the assholes on the police force. When it's a debate in a safe place, obviously not, in the moment. So there, unfortunately, that's a lot of the times the victims have to carry that burden until it's fixed, and it sucks. And your situation, fortunately, is not as extreme as that. So you've got a lot of things here that it sounds like you have a pretty good life, from all the stuff that's going on. And unfortunately, something stupid and fucked up happened to you, but you're safe. Everybody's okay. You ruled out a friend who's apparently insane for the time being, at least. And, you have good things, I think, to hold on to in a situation that's unpleasant. And you have a very supportive mom who is, just a little bit crazy because she thought she almost lost you. So just, I think, remember the love, have a talk with her, cry together if it goes there. And, maybe reestablish that I'm happy and you're the reason. You're at least part of the reason why, I'm happy, because I have a great mom who cares about me. And I just, I know it's going to take you some time to get over this, but I want you to trust me, and I want to do what I can do to help you do that again. But understanding that I was just doing my job as a 17-year-old and occasionally making a dumb mistake by taking an Ambien with a crazy friend. I didn't know, and now I can learn from this, and we both can learn from it. And I would like to get to a place where you're not, coming into my room while I'm trying to masturbate, which maybe don't say that last part, but you get the idea. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I think that needs to be said, especially because I've been kind of playing the opposite side of this, but that is not to reduce any empathy in this situation. You got screwed over and it sucks, and you have every right to feel angry and whatever you're feeling, but this is the best thing you can do, I think, in this situation is be as much of a mature adult as possible, because that will probably show her more than anything that you're good, and she doesn't have to worry.
Good luck.
Yes. So I guess that's all for today. I'll just say one more reminder about the blanket, which it's probably too late at this point, so maybe that's not worth it, but
no, it's not, remember, because we determined that we're not recording on the 8th.
Oh, that's right, they have more time.
Yeah, so you have the whole day.
Yeah,
put it that
and
way.
The next day, in fact.
No, don't give it them. You have the whole day.
No, they should have a couple of days. Just don't procrastinate, because we will be making the decision on the 10th, possibly in the evening of the 9th, even though we won't be recording. Maybe we'll do it preemptively. I don't know.
Good luck to you all. May the odds be ever in your favor.
Mm-hmm. Or our opinions and biases, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's a winner. You get stickers if you don't win the blanket. Don't forget.
We live in the time of what are they called? Participation trophies.
Participation trophies,
There's always been participation trophies.
Well, this is more that I have a lot of stickers. I like them, and I want people to have them. And since we're not selling them, and I don't have all the stuff together yet, this is I look forward to opportunities to send them to people. So there may be less participation necessary for them in the future, but in the meantime, we're gonna there's got to be some line where it's not just email me if you want a sticker. Otherwise,
Yeah, there's a line, you guys.
Yeah, the
Go
line
cross
of
it.
sending us a blanket story.
And don't forget, watch Hannah Gadsby Nanette on Netflix. It will change your life.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes,
and the
it's
show is called Nanette, and
powerful.
her name is Hannah Gadsby, just in case that's confusing, because it was when I saw it on the TV, and the way that you said it, and I think I said it earlier, it's just like it blends
It is
together.
powerful.
Yeah, it's like it's very funny and also just
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I feel like if we say anything specific about it, it's gonna ruin it, and I wish I could recommend it without you knowing anything, because we went in just casually not knowing what we were getting into, and afterwards we're like, wow, fuck, that was something. So
Yeah.
definitely watch it.
That's it.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye.
Bye. You have a question, story, comment, or whatever for the Awkward Human Survival Guide? We want to hear it. We read everything we get on the show, censored for your privacy if you wish, and might laugh about your problem because tragedy loves humor, but genuinely want to help you out. If you've got something to share with us, even if you think it's stupid, send it in as anonymously or proudly as you wish. You can do all of that at awkward.email. You just go to http://awkward.email. Oh yeah, and watch the videos on YouTube, youtube.com/awkwardhuman.